Oftentimes, there are mysteries and crimes all around the world that could have been solved with nothing more than a little help from random strangers on the internet. In fact, many detective agencies promote the use of random internet helpers and online amateur detectives to assist them with investigations, considering the fact that these amateur detectives are not bogged down with deadlines, multiple cases, and other stresses of being a normal detective. This online resource has led to many different benefits in the world of crime solving and code cracking. So today, here at Unexplained Mysteries, we will be going over these strange codes and crimes by analysing 6 times an overwhelming mystery that was solved by the internet. Decoding a grandmother's last message to her family. Jana Holm had very sparse memories of her grandmother growing up and could only recall small facts from her childhood. She had remembered that the last 2 weeks of her grandmother's life, she had become completely mute and uncommunicative, but created over 20 index cards with random information on them. The index cards were taken by a family member after the passing of whom failed to make any sense of them. More than 20 years later, as Jana was going through old belongings, she rediscovered these index cards and remembered where they came from. Inspired to find out her grandmother's last messages, she tried for several years to piece together what the random scribblings meant and if they even had a meaning in the first place. Nearly on the verge of completely giving up, Jana Holm went to the internet and posted what she had pieced together so far and the index cards she had discovered onto a site called Ask Metafilter. Interestingly enough, the code took less than 15 minutes for a random user on the site to crack, who noticed one of the acronyms spelled out the Lord's Prayer and used this alongside other biblical texts to break down the messages and uncover the private secret prayer the mother had written and what she had prayed. Not only did this help to bring closure to the family who often wondered what the random scribblings could have meant, but according to Jana Holm, it helped to heal over a wound to show that even before her passing, the grandmother still prayed and thought deeply over the family she loved and cared for. Finding a daughter missing for more than 35 years. Back in 1979, a young 25-year-old woman named Paulette Jaster mysteriously vanished from her small town in Michigan and was never seen from again. Her family had often remarked about trying to find closure for her disappearance, despite her funeral being held years after searches were called off and her case having gone completely cold. Although no one would have known it at the time, it would take more than 35 years before an answer would surface. In 2014, a woman named Sharon Derrick, a forensic anthropologist, was working to identify a Jane Doe body that had been buried in a pauper's grave in Texas 35 years ago. After failing to find any clues or evidence as to who she could be, Sharon posted her findings to the internet in the hopes that a family member could potentially identify the Jane Doe and bring some finality to the mystery. Shortly thereafter, Sharon received a random tip from someone on the internet who connected the dots between the similarities of the Jane Doe and the missing persons case from Michigan more than 35 years ago. Once Derrick had received the tip, it did not take long for the body to have been confirmed, finally bringing closure to both mysteries and a family grieving for more than 35 years. Stolen laptop. Back in 2011, a man named Sean Power had his bag stolen while he was on a flight back to his hometown in Canada. Rather than contacting the authorities relative to the stolen bag, he was well aware of the sensitive information on his laptop that was located inside the bag, as he would work as a website consultant, and had more than enough confidential information that required proper handling. This led Sean Power to instead ask the internet for assistance, as he used his knowledge of computers and hacking to discover who the thief was that stole his laptop and where he was located. Using a free tracking tool that had already been downloaded onto his laptop known as Prey, Sean Power tracked his laptop to a random bar in Manhattan, as well as receiving several active screenshots of the laptop. This led to him calling the New York City police for their assistance. However, they immediately hung up on Sean Power under a technicality and refused to give any further assistance. This led Sean Power to post his findings onto Twitter, where his followers in the area joined together and confronted the thief, as well as take back the laptop to give back to Power, proving that vigilantism can be far more efficient than police intervention. Finding a runaway daughter. Back in 2011, after Ray Wilson celebrated a seemingly mundane Christmas with his 17-year-old daughter Hayley Wilson, he woke up the next day to find nothing more than a note from his daughter detailing that she had run away. The note she had left behind had been from Hayley asking her dad to let her go as she wanted to start her own life without being a burden on her father and to explore the world on her own. Immediately upon finding this letter, Ray filed a missing persons report with the police, who did nothing to help track down and locate the missing daughter. Rather than give up and wait around for further news to come forward, Ray Wilson went to the internet and begged people on his Facebook to assist with the search. His video and post went viral, and everyone around the country was helping to track her down and provide him with any piece of information they could find. It did not take long for people to post that they had seen her at a party in Carlsbad, California, where the father embraced his daughter and the case was solved. It became apparent to Ray that his daughter was perfectly safe and was even found with a smile on her face and flowers in her hair. It turns out that the daughter was inspired by her father, of whom had left home when he was 16 to make his own way out in the world, and that she was merely trying to do the same. This led to Ray letting her know that she did not have to go at life alone and that he would always be there to help. Car experts solve a hit-and-run case. In 2012, a woman by the name of Betty Marcelle Wheeler was walking along Rosser Avenue in Waynesboro, Virginia on the 7th of April when she was run over by a vehicle and killed immediately on the spot. When the Waynesboro Police Department arrived on the scene, they discovered nothing but the body of Betty Wheeler and a random car part that was seemingly lost by the vehicle in the collision. But no other pieces of evidence could be gathered, and it appeared that the case was very well going to be classified as cold and efforts to catch the killer would soon end. When the local news caught wind of this story, they began posting pictures of the car part onto the car enthusiast website Jalopnik, where they begged car experts to help identify the car part in the hopes of catching the hit-and-run driver. It took only a matter of minutes before local car enthusiasts discovered the exact make and model of the car, which led to the arrest of 2 local men and a full-on confession of the hit-and-run tactic. The Waynesboro Police Department provided a full statement claiming that not only was the discovery of the make and model crucial to the investigation, but that without the quick help of the experts, the drivers most likely would have gotten away with their attack. Saving a stranger's life over the internet. Probably seen as one of the most incredible acts of compassion from a random stranger online, involves the case of Jackie Rosas and her friend from across the country. Jackie Rosas often spent her time online on a website known as Tumblr, where she had met a friend of whom was suffering from terrible bullying and depression disorders at her school. Unfortunately, one day when Jackie was on Tumblr, she noticed a new post from her friend that insinuated a terrible act of self-harm, and that the post would be the last one she would ever make. In an act of desperation, Jackie Rosas contacted her local police department and brought the attention to 14-year-old veteran officer Kelly Nava of the Cathedral City Police Department, who ran the girl's first name through the database in the hopes of discovering more information, but since Jackie did not have the girl's last name, not much more could be done. Jackie then spent the next 8 hours non-stop looking at every clue and detail from the girl's blog and located a Twitter account that featured the same profile picture as her friend's Tumblr. She then read every single Twitter post until she discovered a tweet in reference to a high school's acronym that she cross-referenced with every high school in the United States. Fortunately, this was enough, and though it took her 8 hours to locate which city the girl lived in, it was just enough time for the police to find the girl, of whom was passed out from a painkiller overdose, and resuscitated her just in time to save her life. Jackie Rosas, a resident of California, saved the life of her best friend discovered all the way across the country in the state of New Jersey, even though only having met online and knowing a terribly small amount of information about her everyday life. But what do you all think of strange mysteries and the efforts made by random people on the internet? Be sure to leave your questions and answers in the comment section below and help us to grow this community while working to solve these unexplained mysteries. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more videos.